Yes, this election, this presidential election, could absolutely end tied. All right, let me tell you how. Okay, there are 538 electoral votes, which is an even number. Keep that in mind. So the first person to get 270 electoral votes wins. Pretty simple. Let's just do a little math based on the electoral map. So there are 43 states that feel pretty good are going to go one way or the other, and there are 7 swing states. So let's just allot a few of the swing states to either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Should we do it? Let's do it. Let's say that Kamala Harris wins Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, and that Donald Trump wins the other 4 swing states, which are Nevada and Arizona in the West, Georgia and North Carolina, and Georgia and North Carolina in the South. Okay, so remember, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania for Harris, Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina for Trump. Now, you may or may not know this, but Nebraska, interestingly, does not give like 48 of the other states, does not give all its electoral votes, all 5, to the candidate who wins the state. If you win the statewide vote, you get 2 electoral votes. Each winner of each congressional district, the state has 3, gets 1 electoral college vote. Now you say, Chris, who cares? Why is that important? It's important for this reason. In 2020, Joe Biden actually won 1 electoral college vote out of Nebraska. He won the 2nd congressional district, which is Omaha. In 2008, same thing. Barack Obama won the 2nd district, so he got 1 electoral vote out of Nebraska. Let's say, and Kamala Harris may well win that 1 vote out of Nebraska, but let's say she doesn't. Let's say that Donald Trump gets all 5 votes out of Nebraska. So again, just to revisit, Harris wins of the swing states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt states, and Donald Trump wins the other 4, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and yes, he wins all 5 electoral votes, not just 4, all 5 electoral votes out of Nebraska. Now, if you do the math, you'll get this. In that scenario, 269 electoral votes for Kamala Harris, 269 electoral college votes for Donald Trump. Yes, a 269 tie. Why the founders did not go with an odd number of electoral votes so there could never be a tie, I don't know the answer to that, but that's what could happen. And here's the thing. It's not totally implausible. In fact, I could see a lot of that happening. The hardest thing out of all those things to happen is probably Donald Trump to win the 2nd district of Nebraska and thereby win all 5 electoral college votes in Nebraska. Everything else, totally plausible. So, what happens if it's 269? Because obviously you need 270 to win. So the 12th Amendment of the Constitution covers this. And what it says is the House would pick the president and the Senate would pick the vice president. So let's focus on the House because it's picking the president. Here's how it would work. Every state delegation, so all 50 state delegations would get 1 vote for president, which effectively means that if there are more Republicans than Democrats in that state delegation, they're going to vote for Trump. If there are more Democrats than Republicans, they're going to vote, that 1 vote will go for Harris. So you need 26 votes, 26 state delegations in order to be president under this scenario. Do you know how many state delegations in Congress Republicans currently control? 26. Now, this vote would not take place in this Congress. It would take place in the next Congress early in 2025. So the election obviously could change things about who controls which state delegation. I'm just saying if it happened today, Republicans would have the votes to elect Donald Trump president of the United States. Now, you will say, Chris, it's never happened before, and you will be 100% right. Since we went to 538 electoral college votes, we have never had a tie. We have never had it be 269. We've never had it go to the House and have the House vote and all these things I just outlined. Never happened. Which means probably odds are it's not going to happen this time. But again, remember the scenario I laid out. It is not outlandish. Kamala Harris wins Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. Totally makes sense. Donald Trump wins Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina. Makes sense. And then he wins Nebraska. Like, not crazy, right? So I'm not saying it will happen, but I'm saying it could happen. And I will know one other thing. The New York Times, 538, great site. It's their sort of election prognostication and polling site. They did a thing on who will win the election. And they ran it. I think they ran it. I mean, they run it lots and lots of times. But basically what the model said, out of 100 times, this was last week, out of 100 times, Harris wins 60 times, Trump wins 39 times, and guess what that one other time is? Yes, a tie. 269. So again, no, it is not likely. No, it has never happened before in the modern era. But no, also, should you rule it totally out? And if that happened, I mean, we would be in... I mean, it's a political junkie's dream because it's a scenario that never happens but is plausible to happen. But man, we would be in a wild place because the House would be picking the President of the United States. The Senate would be picking the Vice President of the United States. I mean, we'd be in totally uncharted territories, not to mention the fact that, Donald Trump would probably be claiming fraud one way or another. Kamala Harris, we have to decide what she would do. I mean, it would be total and complete chaos at one level. At another level, though, I mean, it is in the Constitution. It is laid out that this is how it would work. I will note, just for historians, if you're wondering, what are the closest recent electoral college results we've had that are close to 269. So the big one was in 2004. George W. Bush won in 2000, I'll get to 2004. In 2000, George W. Bush won 271 electoral college votes, Al Gore 266 electoral college votes, which is the closest we've had in modern history, right? I mean, Bush won one more than he needed to win. In 2004, by the way, George W. Bush won 286 electoral college votes, John Kerry won 251. So again, very narrow gap there. Obama won overwhelmingly in 2008 and 2012. In 2016, Trump won with over 300. In 2020, Biden won with just over 300. What I would suggest, though, is even if we don't tie, because again, the odds are not with it, even if we don't tie, I do think we are headed to a very narrow electoral college margin one way or the other, Trump or Harris. I think it's more likely that one wins with under 300 electoral college votes than one wins with over 300 electoral college votes, which historically, that has not been the case. We've had a few close ones, the two Bush elections being the most obvious, but for the most part, candidates have won with 300, 350, sometimes even 400. I do not think we're headed anywhere near that. So even if it's not a tie, I think it's going to be pretty dang close. All right. As always, I ask you to do 4 things. Today, number 1 is subscribe to this channel. Just hit subscribe. It's free. Let's do this thing, people. We're marching toward 50,000. Number 2, like this video. Just give it the thumbs up. Number 3, comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm. And number 4, tell 10 friends. Tell 10 friends. Tell 10 friends. I got to make a song about that. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Be well. See you tomorrow.